The RV Show USA is brought to you by Flagstaff, building better RVs, making smarter RVers.
All right, Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. We are back with a guy who's written a book for RVers that so many people are going to love. As our regular listeners know, we do a lot of research in finding great guests. And guess who will help RV buyers, RV owners to make the best decisions possible in what kind of an RV is right for them. So if you're one of the tens of thousands of soon-to-be RVers listening, the gentleman on our guest line is going to be of great interest to you. He's the author of the RV Buyer's Handbook. Right here, I've got it in my hands. Mr. Walt Gerber. Walt, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you betcha. Now, before we even get started, because I've read your book, I know you're a lifelong RVer. Are you even human? Have you ever screwed up RVing? Any, as I call them, self-inflicted wounds you could tell me about?
Oh, let me tell you, early on in my RV days, I was towing my travel trailer to Florida, and it was hot. It was 100 degrees. And unbeknownst to me, I had failed to completely close the black water tank valve that drains all the sewage out. And, of course, you have a cap on so it doesn't run all over the interstate. But when I got to the campground and I got my hose all set up and I'm standing there in my flip-flops, remember, it's 100 degrees now, and I loosened that cap, and that thing blew off of there, and there was sewage in there under pressure. That stuff came out, and I was ankle deep in it. I actually ended up throwing those flip-flops away. I never could get them clean.
Do you still have the same feet, though? Were you ever able to get them clean?
Severe scrubbing.
You know, it's funny. Whenever we talk about these kinds of things on the show, I think more people respond to these kind of stories than just about anything else. But my next question is, so now that we know that you are human just like we are, my next question is, what took you so long to write the RV Buyer's Handbook?
Well, as over the years, as I towed and camped in various size RVs and whatnot, I collected a whole lot of information. But approximately 3 years ago, I was sitting in my RV, and there was a knock on the door. And a fellow said, "Hey, I've got an RV sitting over here just like yours, and I can't find the dump valve." So I went over there and spent about 3 hours with him, and the RV was a wreck, and he was a first-time owner. And I thought, there's a problem here because he didn't really know what he was buying. And subsequently, I decided to get in and become an RV inspector and help people in avoiding buying an RV that probably had a lot of problems to it. A lemon or a money pit. And after a couple of years of inspecting and finding out, mainly people were either buying more RV than they needed, or they didn't buy enough RV. And it's like, okay, I need a whole different RV. So based upon all my experiences and things like the sewer problem and others, I decided to put the book together to help people.
Who did you write the book for? Because I know it's a buyer's handbook, so I would assume it's for people that haven't bought yet, but there's so much, it's just solid information. I think it's good for anybody. But who did you specifically write it for? And I guess you already answered the why part of that is because you don't want people to be ankle deep in sewage and other things.
Yeah, hard on the flip-flops. The book is oriented toward all RVers. Although the first part of it is how to choose an RV, if you already have an RV and you're not happy with it and you're thinking about getting another one, I point out some things to look for. And then when you get your RV, there's a lot of tips in there that you don't really find anywhere that I learned when I was out camping and found out the hard way on how to do things. And then a lot of RVs are do-it-yourselfers. You're out camping and something doesn't work, and you don't want to have to hook it up and take it to a dealer. There's some good tips in there on how to make things work that don't work. And finally, I talk about people that spend a lot of time in an RV think they want to go full-time. Then there's some discussions in there about the challenges and the different RVs you should consider if you're going to be a full-time RVer.
How long have you been an RVer? Most of your life, I assume, or?
I've been camping since I was a child, and I just recently purchased my 9th RV, and I've gone all the way from 26 feet to 36 feet to a fifth wheel, and now I'm back to a 29-footer. Lifestyle changes. I was a full-time RVer and a fifth wheel for 4 years, and now I'm a homeowner, but I've still got my travel trailer parked out in the yard.
You know what I like so much about this RV Buyer's Handbook, and folks, I'm not getting paid anything to say this. This is the honest truth. It's an easy read, Walt. It's very basic. It's not filled with a bunch of fluff, and everything in here is something that's valuable, something that you go, you know what, that makes perfect sense. You talk about all different kinds of components of the RV, about the maintenance, the tires, the batteries, the electrical system, and you don't talk over the reader's head. I like that, and it's small enough you can throw it just about anywhere in your RV or your pickup truck and use it for a reference book.
Well, that was the idea, was to keep that thing handy, because a classic example, you pull into the campground and the refrigerator is not very cold. Oh, what do I do? If you go on the internet and you look up refrigerators, the first thing you do is you get a sales pitch for a new Norcold refrigerator, or some nearby dealer wants to sell you something. And all you want to do is to get the food cold. Well, pick up the book, go into on the refrigerators, go into the troubleshooting section, and there's all the information you need to solve the problem.
I love that. But you know that there are countless YouTube videos. Many of them are good. A lot of them are not. But the book is just another avenue, another way of having something small that you can carry with you that's a really good starting point. I think many RVers, people that already have an RV, can learn a lot from this book.
Now, there's tips on how to set it up, a checklist. I've seen more than once an RVer pull out of a campground and rip the cord right off his RV because it's still plugged into the RV pedestal. That'll certainly ruin your day. So if you develop a checklist of things to do, and one of the last things I talk about in the book is do that final walk around. Yeah, you've walked around, you've disconnected everything, you're all hitched up, everybody's loaded, you're ready to go, engine's running. Don't leave yet. Walk around and look. Chances are you've forgotten something. I saw a picture of one where the satellite antenna was ripped off when a guy went underneath a overpass. That's an expensive mistake.
Any general thoughts on how the average RVer can improve their, I don't know, to me it seems like there's so much interest in RVing from people nowadays that they think that an RV is going to be the same as their F-150 or their Dodge Ram. I mean, and it's not. And they need that education before they go spend a lot of money. Like you said, they buy either too much of an RV or not enough of an RV. What are your thoughts about RV education?
Well, the RV experience has to do with a lot about what do you want personally to get from your camping experience. I talk about, stand in the RV, in the kitchen, look around, think about, are you going to microwave everything? Are you going to cook? Do you have a big family? What about sleeping? How's everybody going to sleep? A lot of the thought process in choosing the right RV, whether it be a towable or a motorhome, has to do with what you're going to do with it and how often you're going to use it and how you go about using it. If it's your first RV, maybe you should reconsider not getting a big Class A that costs $180,000, even if you could afford it, because it may not be what you want.
But you don't know until you spend that money. So you suggest the first-time RV buyer look at used or new, or does that also depend?
That also depends. It's really a budget consideration. If you're a first-time RVer and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, consider a late-model used RV, but also get it inspected. I'm a member of the National RV Inspectors Association, and I'm a certified RV inspector, and you want to get it inspected, particularly if it's used, because there are things that don't show up unless you look very closely. And a leaky roof gets water down inside, the sides delaminate, and it costs tens of thousands of dollars to fix. The price of an RV inspection is worth the cost of an air conditioner. Absolutely.
It's peace of mind. Listen, Walt, we're going to jump for a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to take a phone call from a listener in Chicago who you might be able to help out. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right, everybody, he's Walt Gerber. He is the author of the RV Buyer's Handbook, and we got him for another segment. You are tuned into the most listened to, most talked about show on radio and social media about the RV lifestyle. Yes, it is. You know why? Because I tell you the good, the bad, and the sometimes ugly parts of RVing. There's not too many, but there are some. And I'm going to tell you some of them later on here in the show. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. We'll be back right after this.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, so you want to buy an RV, but you're not exactly sure which RV is right for you. You're not quite ready to pull the trigger. You need a little bit more info. Well, let me tell you something. Help is on the way. Actually, Help is on the phone with us right now. Yes, he is. He's the author of the recently released book called The RV Buyer's Handbook. And on our guest line is Mr. Walt Gerber. Walt is sort of a walking encyclopedia when it comes to RVs. And, Walt, you have really put together a very nice handbook for RV buyers. I mean, it's got a ton of real solid info in it.
Thanks a lot, and it's really great to be here on the show.
Well, we have a lady from Chicago that just recently called in. I don't want to play the call yet, but I think that we're going to be able to provide a little bit of help to her and other listeners that are checking us out right now. But first, as an RV inspector, as a lifelong RVer, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see RVers make besides buying the wrong RV? What are some of the most common mistakes that you see folks make?
The most common is in a towable or even towing with a motorhome. And I talk about a towable, that is, a travel trailer pulled behind a tow vehicle. I see it all the time out on the interstate. They've got too much trailer on, not enough tow vehicle. It's just plain dangerous. They're going up a hill. They're over in the slow lane doing 25 miles an hour, engine down in the lower gears, screaming away. And then when they head down the other side, they can't slow it down.
Yeah.
Tractor trailer goes by and the thing sways. It's just an accident waiting to happen. And you need to know the numbers when you're towing. I cover that in the book. The other thing I see a lot happen is just simple tire maintenance. Most RVs broke down on the side of the road are blown tires, one or two more. Now, there's the occasional what I call road alligator that is a big hunk of rubber from a recap, usually a truck tire. You try to avoid it, but sometimes you don't. Boom, damage.
Right.
I even talk about that in the book and a quick way to get some things fixed and get you going on the road.
So many RV dealers, though, the salespeople, I'm not everybody, but too many of them, they will sell you an RV that is too big for your truck, and you're going to end up finding out you need to spend another $50 or $60,000 to be able to pull that sucker that you just bought.
I have a personal experience. The dealer will remain anonymous, where the salesperson, I was there on another matter. I wasn't there as an inspector. And they were showing him an RV that weighed 8,000 pounds, and he had a pickup truck that would only pull 5,000. Now, generally, I don't get involved. I just mind my own business. But this time, I interrupted because he was putting that poor fellow at risk. And I said, you need a smaller RV or a bigger truck. That's just not the right thing to do.
And the RV Buyer's Handbook, folks, has got all that information in it in easy-to-understand lingo. And so don't go taking some salesperson's word for it. They're not all liars, but most of them, many of them, are not even RVers. So they're trying to sell you an RV that you may not be able to safely tow. All right, can we go ahead and take that phone call? Go ahead and let's get her going.
Hi, Wingman. My name is Julie, and I live in the Chicago area. I'm a 53-year-old teacher. I've traveled around the world, but my dream is to actually have an RV. I have a question. Do you think that it would be better for me to buy, say, a C-Class and tow a smaller car to kind of zip around locally with, or should I buy a trailer and then I'm thinking of purchasing, if I do go that way, a Ford F-150, a V8 to tow the trailer? So which one do you think is, more economical, more practical? What do you think? What are your thoughts? And I love your show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for calling, Julie. What do you think, Walt? I'm going to listen to what you say first. Then I'm going to give you my opinion.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, one that I get asked frequently. In fact, if you want to have fun in a campground fire gather-round setting, just find a motorhome owner and a travel trailer owner and ask them which one is best, and then sit back and watch the action. Because, those that own them are very firm about why they own them. But once you get past the basics of the floor plan you want, things to consider between a motorhome and a travel trailer are that foot per foot, for instance, a 30-foot motorhome and a 30-foot travel trailer, you're going to get more floor space because you don't have the cab area, passenger seat, steering wheel, dashboard, engine, transmission taking up chassis space. So you get more living space. The smaller Class Cs, typically save area with a very compact kitchen. They're a lot like a galley kitchen on a boat. So back to your original choice of how you're going to use it has a lot to do with the floor plan. Once you've decided on the floor plan, if you're going to go with a motorhome, a Class C, you'll need to really have something to tow behind it. And she talked about that, of having a small tow vehicle. Remembering that you can't back up once you got the car back there. Number one, you can't see it, and the tow length is so short, it'll jackknife right on you.
Right.
So you have to think about where you're going to drive, where you pull in for gas. And when you pull it into a campground, unless you're in a spot that you just pull in and stop, you've got to disconnect the car and back in. A motorhome is easier to back in tight spaces than is a travel trailer. If you're going to use a truck, back when you got to get the right truck to tow your trailer, a lot of people trying to make the decision, even if you have a mid-sized RV, there are some small RVs that are lightweight enough you can pull with a mid-sized RV. The other consideration, travel trailer to motorhome, is sitting for long periods of time. A engine and transmission doesn't want to sit for months at a time and not run. Seals, gaskets dry up. Gasoline can become contaminated. They want to be run once in a while. So if you're not going to use it for a long period of time, you might want to consider a travel trailer instead. Another consideration and cost is insurance. If you have a travel trailer, the liability insurance on it is handled by the policy on the tow vehicle. When you have a motorhome and towing the car behind it, you're paying insurance for both vehicles' liability. The other thought, she mentioned Ford F-150. Now, I used to be a Dodge man, but I currently have an F-150, and she mentioned getting a V8. Depending upon how much travel trailer she's going to tow, you don't necessarily need a V8. She can look at Ford. They have a great 350 F-150 with a 3.5-liter engine, twin turbo, that'll tow up to 11,800 pounds. And I talk about towing headroom in the book, where if the truck will pull 11.8, you don't want to load it with any more than 10.8.
Right. You need to give yourself at least 1,000 pounds.
At least 1,000 pounds. Now, cost comparisons, that's a tough one, because depending upon how many goodies you get on your motorhome, that drives the price up, and what kind of a car you're going to tow behind it is priced. But generally speaking, with a one-for-one, you may end up spending just a little bit more money because you're buying two sets of engines and drivetrains as opposed to just one.
Yeah, I love that answer. I was going to say the same thing, except I was not going to be nearly as articulate as you. I think that buying a truck and a quality-built travel trailer bumper pull is probably the better way to go. But listen, we are running short on time, but I know that we have you down for our live stream in just a few days. In the meantime, what is the call to action, Walt, and where folks can go to learn more about and buy their own copy of the RV Buyer's Handbook?
The call to action is go to RVbuyershandbook.com. All the information on the book is there, and a link for you to purchase it.
Awesome. Simple. I think this is really a great, solid resource. A lot of good information. It's all meat and no potatoes, as they say. Everything is real solid. So best of luck with it, and hope you sell a pile up. We'll see you soon in the live stream, all right?
Thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, you take care. You know, folks, I am such a huge proponent of making well-informed decisions, especially when buying an RV. For most people, I hate to say this, but most people learn really quickly that they should have taken more time before buying the RV that they ended up buying. And that's just a fact. If you're a soon-to-be RV buyer, even if you already own an RV, I highly recommend that you check out the RV Buyer's Handbook. It is an easy read, and you will learn a whole lot. You'll know a lot more than you did when you started once you finish it. As you heard, Walt Gerber will be with me on our upcoming live stream this coming Wednesday. Yes, he will, where we're going to take phone calls from listeners, and I'll do my best to answer or get Walt to answer all the questions about RVs that you might have. If you'd like to visit with us and you've got your cell phone close by, here's the deal. send me a text message right now. That's right. I'll send you a bounce back message right away. And then when we go live on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central, I'm going to send you a text with our call-in telephone number. So super easy. I'll do my best, like I said, to help you make the right decisions and hopefully avoid making a real whopper of a mistake. If you'd like to chat, text me right now. Just text the word Wingman to 38470. I know it doesn't sound like a real number, but it is. It does work. Text Wingman, one word, Wingman, to 38470, and we will get you all set up. In our closing few seconds, I want to thank our great radio stations around the country for their support of our show. But I want you to know that our success is on account of you and your support of what we do. Your calls and emails are so appreciated. Until next time, I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. Be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home. Bye-bye, everybody.